let's talk about self-sacrifice. Hello everyone and welcome to For These Are My Thoughts. Today we're introducing a new segment, the word of the day. And today's word of the day is collective long-term orientation. And yeah, I know that's actually 4 words, and I said it's the word of the day, not the words or phrases of the day. But I'm going to ignore that because this is my show. And collective long-term orientation is also not an actual word or even a real phrase. It's something that I made up. It's a combination of a word and a phrase. You see, collectivism is the sacrificing of personal gain so that a group can gain together. And long-term orientation is delaying short-term material, emotional, and societal gain for long-term rewards. Taking those two things and mashing them together, you get collective long-term orientation, which is delaying or even sacrificing personal short-term gain for long-term group rewards. Or, as the kids say these days, taking the L so that the group can get the W. Kids don't say that anymore? Okay, well, anyways, this is something that as Americans we do not like. We like the opposite of collective long-term orientation. We're like a group of toddlers. We want what we want, and we want it now, and if we don't get it, we are going to freak the frack out. But when we do this, we fail to realize that we're like puzzle pieces. We can look great on our own, but it isn't until we're put into the right place in the grander puzzle that we achieve the fullest form of success. And a great example of the opposite look of collective long-term orientation is found where I first saw the terms collectivism and long-term orientation. An article on ESPN. That's right, ESPN. The network that's like a buffet for sports where you can get a little bit of everything as long as it's not hockey and most women's sports. But that's a whole nother issue for a whole nother video. So ESPN actually produced something of worth to society in an article on the recent U.S. men's soccer team drama from the World Cup, where if you don't know, a 20-year-old player who wasn't pulling his weight at the World Cup had his playing time reduced by his coach. And mommy and daddy didn't like this, and so they, who are close friends of the coach, sent the U.S. Soccer Federation information about a former domestic incident involving the coach as retaliation for their son losing playing time. It's like a daytime soap opera, except, I think, with a lot less murder and more bad haircuts. And that situation is a perfect example of the opposite of collective long-term orientation, because these parents could have easily left the situation alone and taught their 20-year-old son that you have to deal with the consequences of being a lazy jerk. But we don't like having to make sacrifice for the greater good. We don't even like it when our kids have to make sacrifices for the greater good, for the people around us, or even for a group or team that we are a part of. But let's look at some positive examples of collective long-term orientation. Take Tom Brady, for example. Everyone, except for your one friend from Boston that thinks they're wicked smart, hates Tom Brady. But it is undeniable that Tom Brady is the Michael Jordan of football, except with a lot more hair. But what people don't realize is that Tom Brady has consistently taken lower salaries so that his teams could afford other high-end talented players. And what does that lead to? For Tom Brady, it's led to 10 Super Bowl appearances and 6 victories, the most all time. And while he's been winning 6 Super Bowls, he's also achieved personal success, winning NFL MVP 3 times. Tom Brady is like the Forrest Gump of football. He shows up at the right place, at the right time, and achieves massive success. And again, Tom Brady, while great on his own, hasn't gotten to those Super Bowls simply because he's a great quarterback. It required talent around him, which required him to take lower salaries in order to win those championships. Another example of collective long-term orientation working is in the workplace, where they say a rising tide lifts all boats. A fitting analogy for collective long-term orientation, and a much better metaphor than everyone needs to pull their weight or we'll all drown, which was the motto for my middle school's rowing team. But in all seriousness, the beauty of collective long-term orientation in the workplace is that it's all about lifting each other up and pushing toward a common goal. Even if it means sitting through your boss's workplace remix of Happy by Pharrell Williams in 2023 at your Monday meeting that definitely could have just been an email. It's like building a Lego city. It can certainly be a whole lot of fun to make a Lego city on your own. But if we all work together, if you work with a team, we can create something so much bigger and so much better than if we were just to be playing with ourselves. And you may say that the opposite of collective long-term orientation is everywhere. And if Penelope is going to look out for herself, then I'm going to look out for myself. But here's the thing. That's the reason collective long-term orientation is so needed. We need people to sacrifice their own needs from time to time, even when selfish people around them aren't, for the betterment of society. And that's hard, and that isn't always fun, and it's not always enjoyable, but fun and enjoyment does not always equal better. It's like putting lobster on your favorite meat lover's pizza. It might seem like a great idea. It might seem like you are about to revolutionize the meat lover's pizza industry, until you take that first bite and realize the devastation your actions are going to have on your intestines. And as a Christian, I strongly believe that myself and other Christians are called to practice collective long-term orientation. God himself practices collective long-term orientation, most clearly seen in the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus for literally everyone else. And as a Christian, I believe I'm supposed to mimic, to imitate, to be like Jesus. I'm supposed to put my needs after other people's from time to time. I'm supposed to set aside the things that I want if it means other people are going to benefit. And I understand and I do truly respect that not everyone who watches this video is a Christian who thinks the same way that I do. But hopefully we can all agree that collective long-term orientation is most certainly better for society than individual short-term orientation. Because greatness is rarely achieved without sacrifice. But what do you think? Make sure that you share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you laughed, if you find yourself relaxed, or you agree, give us a like, subscribe, go check out what we're doing on the community tab, and consider checking out this thoughtful take on our video of banned books. And until next time, these are my thoughts, and I'll see you soon.